Right, staff, thank you for joining me once again. Settle down, stop chewing that gum, sit up straight, pay attention. And if you're not in uniform, take the instructions of the Master Chief recently provided to you. Get yourselves in uniform. In the meantime, let's deal with someone who wants to be wrong on the interwebs. It's a high priest of the Church of Anorexia Vegana. It's Wol Tholomew, who is a criminal who ought to be in prison, frankly. And he's casting aspersions, he's projecting, and he's suggesting that others should be in prison when it's actually him who should definitely be in prison. All right, Joel, let's hear it, shall we?
Like some of the people we've had on this podcast, like Dr. Sean Baker and a few others, they're primarily guys that like to eat meat. Right. And so they are talking about nutrient-dense foods, but those have more calories. And
calories are heat, Mark Smelly Bell. You cannot derive anything useful from heat. Calories are specifically and explicitly heat. They are defined as such. They are measured as such. That's what they are. They are not effective energy for human beings derivable from foodstuffs. There is no interconvertibility that is appropriate to assert. This is just pointing to your ignorance. Please stop it.
You're talking about things that have high nutrients but low calories, right?
Correct. I mean, you're getting a lot of bad information that's killing people.
Yes, the bad information that's killing people is coming from you turds, you absolute criminals who are espousing this ridiculous plant-based diet, which is absolutely demonstrably destitute in terms of required nutrient for human beings for robust health and longevity. It's just not acceptable behavior, Wol Tholomew, and you need to stop it.
And those people should be put in jail.
No, the people that should be in prison, Wol Tholomew, are the people like yourself. You are the criminal here, and you are completely out of your lane. You are not trained as a nutritionist, not at all. Not one iota. What's next?
That you're having on your show.
Uh-oh. Sean Baker, you need to be put in jail.
That's right. They should be stopped. We should, silence them.
No, the people that should be silenced are the people like you, Wol Tholomew. You are the criminal here. You are the problem here. Not Sean Baker.
All right, let me just answer that. Okay, two things. One, the most proven methodology to slow aging. The only proven methodology to slow aging.
There is no methodology proven to slow aging in human beings. That would require an experiment on human beings lasting a lifetime under adequate control, observation, proper randomization, etc. Wol Tholomew. No such study has ever been undertaken. So whatever you're about to say is a lie. Or it points to your complete destitution of understanding of science. I don't care which it is, Joel. Either of those is a reason for you to shut your ignorant criminal mouth and keep it shut permanently. And by the looks of things, that might happen by itself spontaneously anytime soon, anyhow.
Aging and live longer is moderate caloric restriction.
Calories are heat, Wol Tholomew. I've covered that already in this video.
In an environment of micronutrient excellence. Now, let me say that one more time.
Micronutrient excellence. What the purple fuck is that, Wol Tholomew?
Because people should write this down. Moderate caloric restriction.
Calories are heat, right? So we're going to restrict our heat, are we, Wol Tholomew? What happens when you restrict a person's heat? Well, that's called hypothermia, and it's fatal if it goes below a certain temperature and is kept down for a certain period of time. That's not what we want to do, is it? No. Get a clue, son.
In an environment.
The word is environment, not environment. Environment. Goodness sake.
Context of micronutrient excellence.
Yeah, you said that before and it meant nothing the first time and it still means nothing.
And by micronutrients, I mean vitamins, minerals, phytochemicals, and antioxidants.
Right, okay, vitamins, all the vitamins that are required by human beings to live a long and healthy life with robust and rude health throughout that lifespan are found in meat and animal fat. Minerals, the same deal applies. All the minerals required by human beings are found in the meats and fats that are associated with those. Phytochemicals, there are none required by human beings, not one ever. Phytochemicals are just chemicals derived from plants. The exact amount of plant food required by human beings is not 1 single gram ever. And antioxidants, well, we get a good dose of water-based antioxidant in the form of uric acid when we consume our entirely appropriate species-specific diet of the meats and fats of large ruminant animals mostly. Antioxidants otherwise are not required in the diet, unless, of course, you eat an inappropriate diet that would lead you to need such antioxidants, which a carnivore diet is not one of. In fact, you can get all the antioxidant activity that you require other than the uric acid in the form of a suite, actually, of antioxidants that your body produces itself under the instructions of your DNA, and also by grounding yourself electrically to the earth for as much time as is feasible, practical, and possible in your lifestyle. Okay, so we're done with all of those things. What else?
Right.
No, wrong, Joel Fuhrman. Completely wrong. This is why people like you who have no training in human nutrition, human physiology, or the requirements of human beings for health and longevity should not comment on this. You are out of your lane. You are out of your training area. You don't know what you're talking about. You don't know dick about fuck. You wouldn't know the difference between your elbow and your asshole if I labelled both of those and taught you how to read. And you are a criminally negligent, homicidal maniac by promoting a completely inappropriate diet for human beings to human beings. You should be in prison.
Meat has no micronutrient load.
Nonsense. There are plenty of micronutrients in meat. In fact, all the micronutrients required by human beings are found in meat and the associated fat.
Has no phytochemicals and antioxidants.
Phytochemicals are not required from the diet, and antioxidants are indeed sourced via meat through the production in the body metabolically of uric acid. Joel, I've covered that.
It doesn't diffuse free radicals.
Grounding to the earth does, as does uric acid, in fact.
Processed foods.
And all the endogenous antioxidants produced by the body under the instruction of the genes. Remember those?
Has no, I'm saying a piece of chicken is like a bagel.
No, a piece of chicken is nothing like a bagel, Joel Fuhrman. Nothing whatever. A bagel is plant-based slop, is not food for a human being. A piece of chicken might well be.
They both are sources of calories.
No, calories are heat, remember? Wrong again.
With no significant load of micronutrients.
Yeah, nonsense. False, once again.
Especially the phytochemicals.
Phytochemicals are not required by human beings. We've covered that. So the fact that they're absent is not a problem, because there are no required. Name a required phytonutrient, Joel Fuhrman. Any one that human beings cannot survive without. We'll wait. We actually won't wait because we've got other things to do.
And antioxidants that diffuse free radicals and advanced glycation end products. The buildup, see, aging is all about the buildup of metabolic toxins and waste products that age us. Like,
no, that's one of the things that can be an aging influence. That's not what aging is all about at all, Joel Fuhrman. You don't even understand that clearly.
Like free radicals and advanced glycation end products.
No. It's funny how it says advanced location. He's saying glycation end products there. Glycation end products, by the way, Joel, glycation is the damage to something by sugar. Joel, sugar, not proteins and fats, you buffhead. And your speech is clearly so slurred that YouTube is unable to accurately even hear what you are saying. Brain fog much, perhaps? Who knows? Let's carry on.
Eating more calories in general is just...
Calories are heat. You cannot eat heat. Joel, no.
Consuming calories produces more free radicals.
No, it doesn't. Heat doesn't produce free radicals. Not at all. False. Where do you get these ideas from, you buffhead? You ignorant, ridiculous man. No.
The more calories you eat, the more free
you cannot eat heat.
Radicals you produce.
No. Still false. Repeating the same mistake twice does not make it correct. It makes it out that you've made the same mistake twice immediately in succession to fill in some space while you're desperately waiting for your brain to catch up.
The more calories you eat,
you can't eat heat. I've covered that.
The faster your metabolic rate gets, and the faster your metabolic rate means the faster you're aging.
Not necessarily. Not necessarily at all. There are many influences over your basal metabolic rate. the effective intake of energy, which is not in the form of calories at all, in your food, Joel, is only one of those. The makeup of that is another one, as is your endocrine system functioning, your hormonal responses, your level of stress and or distress, your physical fitness, your age and stage, what season of the year it is, all sorts of things, Joel. Please, son, you're making an absolute fool out of yourself.
This is contrary to most anybody you have on this podcast because they're all giving you incorrect information.
No, Joel. The person giving incorrect information is you, son. You are the one who is in error here. You are the one who needs to go to prison and be silenced. Okay? Take Paul Saladino with you because he's criminally negligent as well. You can be bunkmates or something. It'll be great. You can talk about your love of carbohydrates with one another until the cows come home.
I think it's untrue that we can get everything that we need from animal products.
It is not untrue.
We can get everything we need from animal products.
That is correct, Joel Fuhrman. We can.
That's the most ridiculous statement I've ever heard.
Well, that's why you should remain silent for all time, Joel Fuhrman. That's why you should remain utterly silent. And you should do that in a prison cell with your mate Saladino beside you.
That's what we're hearing, that you can get everything that you need in terms of especially micronutrients from a liver.
You don't need to eat liver to get everything you need. You get everything you need from muscle meat and associated fat, Mark Smelly Bell.
Heart.
You don't need to eat heart, although heart is very, very similar to skeletal muscle. But skeletal muscle alone is perfectly sufficient for the nutritional requirements of human beings.
The amount of ignorance is just incredible.
Yes, it is from you, Joel Fuhrman. The ignorance from you is incredible. The arrogance from you is incredible. The Dunning-Kruger from you is absolutely fucking incredible.
And the amount of false information giving out to people is really quite disturbing.
Yes, it is from you, Joel Fuhrman. Yes, that is right. Disturbing misinformation from you.
You know, why
do you think that's false information? You're saying that meat doesn't have micronutrients in it?
Well, we know right now that the type of nutrients that elevate SIRT1 and AMP kinase.
That is not what you were asked, Joel Fuhrman. Answer the question you were asked. And also stop being a reductionist. Do you have any evidence whatsoever that human beings cannot live a long and robust life eating nothing but the muscle meat and associated fat of large ruminant animals? No, you do not. It does not exist. You criminal. You absolute charlatan. Answer the question you were asked. What is missing from that diet?
Longevity proteins that stabilize the DNA are mostly phytochemicals.
Nonsense.
In plants.
Nonsense. Answer the question you were asked.
And that the ARE, or the antioxidant response element that's activated on
I've covered that, Joel.
Genes, on our genes that protect the cell from free radical damage and aging, is fueled by the phytochemical.
No, it isn't, Joel. I've covered it. False again.
It's found in plant foods, mostly green vegetables.
No, false again.
The isothiocyanate found in green vegetables. So we know that each broccoli has 1,000 different nutrients in it. Each piece of strawberry has 700 nutrients.
That's not what you were asked, Joel Fuhrman. And the fact that a broccoli might contain a large number of things doesn't mean that necessarily any of those things are bioavailable to a human being or useful to a human being, and they also don't cancel out the contraindications of that very same broccoli on the basis of the toxins, anti-nutrients, contraindicated fiber, and all sorts of other nonsense that you will also find in that broccoli, Joel Fuhrman. The question you were asked was, what is missing from meat that a human being cannot survive a long and robust and healthy life eating nothing but meat? That is the question you are asked. Answer that question.
Say that the antioxidants are mainly for the vegetable itself and that they don't do much in the human body.
Well, they could have a theory. You could have all kinds of nonsensical theories.
Yes, you could, couldn't you, Joel Fuhrman? One could have all sorts of crazy theories, couldn't one? Quite agree.
And you could make claims on a podcast.
Indeed. No, without even the slightest hint of irony there at all, was there not, Joel? Okay.
But unfortunately, the science doesn't support that.
The science, you say. Well, give us some science, Joel. Provide some science. Sunshine. I've been involved in nutritional sciences for a goodly number of decades. I'm well and truly expert in what the nutritional science, such that it is, says, what it doesn't say, what it can and cannot inform us upon, the level of veracity of all sorts of different papers that have been published here and there. Bring us some science, Joel. We'll wait, shall we? We won't wait.
The science is overwhelming.
Overwhelming and irrefutable. Great. Well, let's cite some science then, Joel. Cite some overwhelming and irrefutable science for us. Rather than just saying words like overwhelming and irrefutable, provide some fucking science, son.
And irrefutably secure and and comprehensive.
No, I disagree entirely, and I'm an expert in human nutrition, Joel Fuhrman, and you are not. Okay? You want to go at this with me in a debate? Let's go, sunshine. Any fucking day of the week and twice on Sundays, I'll tear you 7 new assholes. You've got no idea at all what you're talking about here. Anyone who uses words like irrefutable, secure, and comprehensive with regard to any aspect of human nutrition and any hard health outcome in human beings over any period does not know what he's talking about and is a propagandist. Those are the facts. I will debate the science with you or anybody else, Joel Fuhrman, any day of the week. My email address is on the front page of my fine, actually science-based YouTube channel under the About tab. Do feel free to send me an email to book in for a debate about this secure and comprehensive and irrefutable science that you believe you have, because you fucking don't.
That phytochemicals extend human lifespan.
No, there is no such evidence. That is a lie. That is a criminally misanthropic lie. That is the sort of thing that should have you stripped of your medical license, Joel Fuhrman, and sent directly to prison. Okay? Simple.
So with your style of diet, though, you're not saying that meat is bad, because meat is part of...
No, I am saying meat is bad.
Well, then you're a fucking idiot. We've been eating meat and animal fat perfectly successfully. Those are the genes that are selected for by positive selection pressures for 4.5 million fucking years, Joel Fuhrman. Fact. Stunning.
I'm saying the evidence is irrefutable.
Yeah, you've said the word irrefutable before. It wasn't impressive the first time, and it still isn't, and you still haven't cited a single piece of irrefutable evidence, Joel Fuhrman, on any topic whatsoever.
That is, people eat more meat in their diet, their increased risk of cardio.
No. There are no experiments to inform on risk. Risk is a cause and effect statement, Joel Fuhrman. It requires a controlled, interventional experiment conducted in a locked laboratory on human beings, large numbers of human beings, genetic twins that is, to act as research pairs, locked in separate labs at birth, treated identically in every way, shape and form, except for the one thing that you want to point the finger at. Hasn't been done, will never be done. You are lying. Or you are criminally incompetent to speak publicly about science. Either is a reason for you to shut your fucking mouth permanently. This is very, very straightforward. No, son. Risk. Not at all.
Cardiovascular death and cancer deaths.
No, fucking nonsense. Rubbish.
Increase.
No. False.
Meat raises IGF-1.
So what? That's reductionist. That's mechanistic speculation. Show me some hard health outcomes on human beings collected during an experimental study conducted over multiple decades with huge numbers of genetically identical human beings locked in those labs under control and observation. Joel Fuhrman. We'll wait, shall we? Has not been done, will never be done. Pop yourself directly to fuck, you criminal, lying, misanthropist pig. What's next?
To cancer-promoting levels.
No, cancer-promoting is another cause and effect statement. There are no experiments to back that up, Joel Fuhrman. Pop yourself directly back to fuck once again. No passing go, no collecting $200. Criminal.
And you can't have prostate cancer. You can't. In other words, let me make a few things clear.
Why don't you make anything whatsoever clear, Joel Fuhrman? Anything at all would be great. We'll wait, shall we? Still no? Okay, what's next?
We give studies more credence if they go on for decades.
Great, we'll lock some people in some labs for decades, under control and observation, making sure that they are following the experimental protocol absolutely, not cheating, not confounding your results, and actually report the results you observe, perhaps. Got any studies like that, Joel? Shall we wait? I don't think we will.
Many hundreds of thousands of people, many thousands of people. We look at hard endpoints like death.
Right. Good. Hard health endpoints like death. Is that in a controlled population that were locked in labs so that you know absolutely that this wasn't confounded? There's no healthy user bias at play here, no unhealthy user bias at play here, no other variable of any kind could have confounded your results, Joel Fuhrman? No? Okay, back to fuck, you pop. See ya.
Every study that looked at animal product, increasing animal product consumption, so it's increased risk of death.
No. False. Again, there are no studies informing on risk of death in human beings whatsoever, Joel Fuhrman, not one. And none of the studies that purport to inform on risk of death actually show a meaningful difference in death rates between the most and least animal consumption groups. Anyway, the outcome statistic differentials in absolute terms are so close to zero as makes no odds for any given living human being not over a 100-year lifespan. There are statistically significant differences because of the large sample sizes. However, what we have is statistic differences between associations of completely uncontrolled naturalistic observations. That is not science, Joel Fuhrman. The very thing you were talking about not 5 minutes ago, science, you said, will show us some fucking science. Still waiting. Still no science.
When we're looking at hard endpoints, the studies we have more credence.
There are no studies with any credence for the reasons I'm talking about. None at all.
For example, not only does, a recent study on 44,000 women.
Okay, that's a very small epidemiological study.
For 25 years.
Followed for 25 years, a naturalistic observation. Were they locked in labs for 25 years and kept under control so that we know they followed the protocol? Were they identical genetically, two sets of twins at the outset, who had had exactly the same life up to that point before beginning this experimental protocol? No? Back to fuck you must pop. Once again without collecting $200, Joel Fuhrman. There is no science here. None whatsoever. Not a single data point of science. There is ideology and propaganda here. There is criminal misanthropy, the sort of thing that should land you, Joel Fuhrman, in a jail cell. Straightforward. What's next?
They ranked their amount of animal products they ate versus plant foods.
No, what the people reported they ate. Did they observe what the people ate? No. They asked the people, so what is it you've been eating? And they believed them. Write this down, Joel. Since you like people writing things down, why don't you write this down? People tell lies, son, especially about what they've been eating, okay? Fuck's sake, get a clue about anything whatsoever. This is pathetic.
They ate in their diet and gave them a score of 0 to 20. 0 would be like a vegan diet, 20 would be an Atkins diet or a keto diet.
Well, which, Joel? They're not the same thing.
And they found that for every point where they increased animal products, every point cardiovascular deaths went up by 2.5%.
2.5% of what? What was the baseline incidence, Joel Fuhrman? Do you even know? I bet you don't. I'll help you out. It was probably around about 8 per 10,000 person years of follow-up. So 2.5% of that is very, very little, and that's not causal. Healthy user bias is at play here. We are done. Finished, because they were not controlled. Healthy user bias. We're done. Finish. There is no causality at play here. This is nonsense. Still no science. What's next?
So that the Adventist Health Study was
The Adventist Health Study. The first one or the second one, Joel?
published in 2001 showed that,
That sounds like the first one, I think.
well, it showed that people with more animal products had shorter lifespans.
Well, no, actually, I'm not sure whether you do mean, because I can't remember the dates, but I'm not sure whether you actually do mean the first or the second Adventist Health Study. But I'll tell you what, the second Adventist Health Study was certainly the most recent one, so we'll talk about that one. It showed the exact opposite, in fact, Joel Fuhrman. Those authors reported an increase in death rate, not lifespan at all, death rate, actually, in their populations. Every decrease by quartile in the consumption of animal products was associated with an increase in the death rate. And those authors reported the exact opposite because they adjusted their outcomes to suit the ideology of the Church of the Seventh-day Adventists who were funding the study and who the authors of that study were working at the Loma Linda University. They lied, Joel Fuhrman, about what they actually observed. Criminal activity, the sort of thing that should land people in a prison cell, Joel Fuhrman. Okay? No, son. Not at all.
And people who eat a little bit of animal products.
No, that's false. The health study 2, at least, did not show that.
In 2018,
I know he's going to talk about this. Okay, that's what it was. The second study was 2018. There you go.
Adventist Health Study 2, they showed 5 quintiles of nut and seed intake,
Yes.
and those with the highest quintile.
And was every other aspect of the subpopulations by virtue of nut and seed intake, were they identical in every other respect? No, they weren't. Ergo, pop yourself directly back to fuck, you criminal misanthropist piece of shit.
Of nut and seed intake compared to the lowest quintile had a 40% lower cardio death rate.
40% less than what? What was the baseline, Joel? I've given it to you already. And was that cause and effect because everything else was controlled? No. Pop yourself to fuck.
Higher intake of nut and seed. When they divided the animal product intake into 5 quintiles, they found those with the highest amount of animal product compared to the lowest amount had a 60% increase.
They actually found the exact opposite, Joel. I've just spoken about that. They lied. They adjusted the death rate to something they did not observe. That is criminal behavior. That is fabrication of outcomes. That is not science. Their raw outcome data showed the exact opposite of what you are saying now. Absolutely fucking criminal.
Cardiovascular death rate. And right now we know that all the studies in human longevity show that as people...
There are no studies on human longevity. None at all, Joel Fuhrman. They do not exist, you liar.
Eat more high-protein plant foods as a means of reducing high-protein animal products, lifespan increases.
No, that's a cause and effect statement again. There is no data to underpin that extant anywhere in the literature. Fuck right off, back to fuck again.
Which we see in all the blue zones. More
blue zones, you say, okay, well, if you had any credibility, which you do not, Joel Fuhrman, there it is gone, right there. There are no zones of people in the world who eat a vegan diet who live longer than others. This has been debunked, smashed to pieces 1 billion times. I don't know by how many times over that's been done by a bunch of very, very sensible commentators, actually scientifically minded people, including but not remotely limited to myself. We are done with blue zones. Directly back to fuck you must pop. No, sir, that will not wash. No.
Beans and more greens means longer life. What I'm saying right now is more high-protein animal products, shorter lifespan?
Nonsense. False. Lie. There is no data to support that claim extant anywhere in the literature. None at all.
More high-protein plant foods like hemp seeds, green vegetables, beans, broccoli, and soybeans, longer lifespan.
Also false, also a lie, also unsupported by a single data point extant anywhere in the literature. Get fucked, Joel Fuhrman. Rot in prison.
So they were trying to get professional athletes to get more of their protein from high-protein plant foods and less of their protein from high-protein animal products.
Who's they? They were trying to do. Who's they, Joel?
When you take your protein from high...
Goodness gracious me, by the way. If you needed any reason not to take the advice of this gentleman, other than the ridiculous, pustulous, excremental lies, pseudoscience or anti-science, and buffoonery of all kinds, propaganda, lies and spin doctrine that comes out of the snake's mouth, never mind any of that. Just tell us all about health, Joel Fuhrman. Off you go.
High-protein animal products, because the protein is all biologically complete and people are trying to maximize growth, you overshoot the amount of production of growth hormone and IGF-1. And overshooting IGF-1 allows angiogenesis.
So what causes you to overshoot on IGF-1, Joel Fuhrman?
And promotes cellular replication. When you're promoting excessive cell growth, you're promoting excessive growth of cancer.
So now you're suggesting that cancer is caused by eating protein? Another completely unsupportable anti-scientific claim from a crackpot. That is false. Demonstrably, unequivocally, absolutely false. This is a bloke sitting there saying Sean Baker should go to prison. I think it's really clear who should be in prison. Really clear.
When you're taking your protein from plant proteins, because they're not biologically complete, your body completes them what it needs and the amount it needs. It's not going to over-complete them. It can take stored amino acids in the interstitial lining, or it can absorb bacteria in the digestive tract to complete amino acids. But it's not going to overshoot the amount of proteins being generated into growth hormone and IGF-1.
Neither is eating animal protein going to do that, Joel. Show me evidence otherwise. Shall we wait? We won't.
Into cancer-promoting levels. So what I'm saying now is that we can modulate cancer and heart disease.
Right, so another unsupportable anti-scientific claim made by a clear paragon of health himself here. Protein, the very thing that makes up 65% of your dry mass, the very thing from which you are constructed, now somehow causes cancer, does it? Wow. Just fucking incredible, isn't it?
Nutritional excellence. We can get you to a point with a favorable IGF-1, not too high and not
so yet more reductionism.
Too low.
What's too high and what's not too low, Joel, on IGF-1? And what are you pinning that claim upon? What evidence are you claiming that upon? Any? No? Okay.
With a high intake of phytochemicals from plants.
No, phytochemicals again. You don't need any from plants. Not one molecule of phytochemicals are required from plants in human beings at any time in their life. No.
There's no such thing that you can't get protection.
Protection is a cause and effect statement, Joel. Do you have any evidence to support a cause and effect claim of that kind as regards any plant food whatsoever? No, you don't. Back to fuck you must pop.
From heart disease and dementia and cancer without a high level of phytochemicals in your tissues. There's no way. They're not present in animal products.
You don't need them either. Saying they're not there and that's a problem is false. It's not a problem. They're not required.
What I'm saying, a piece of chicken is like a bagel.
No, it isn't. Still. They're very different. Brain fog much? A piece of chicken is like a bagel. No, it isn't.
Because they're both a source of macronutrients, calories, but neither one has...
No, calories are heat, remember? Still.
Isn't a significant phytonutrient.
Phytonutrients are still not required.
Without these phytonutrients that make plants colorful, they don't perfuse the body. They don't diffuse the production of free radicals in the brain.
Well, that's why we have a suite of antioxidants that the body makes itself to take care of that, Joel. And also, by way of water-soluble antioxidant, we have uric acid. And also, we ground ourselves to the earth, those of us that are sensible. I'm doing it right now. My hand is on a grounded mouse pad. When I sleep, I'm grounded in my bed. And when I watch television, I'm grounded while I'm doing that too, by a wrist strap or ankle strap. Okay?
This bag of fat you have in your brain ages you and produces free radicals.
So your brain now ages you and produces free radicals. Would that be only if your brain is functioning, Joel Fuhrman? That would be a topic you wouldn't know anything about. You've just said the brain causes aging and free radicals. Wow. No, it doesn't, son.
These meat-based diets.
Yeah, Paul Saladino does not eat a meat-based diet. Paul Saladino has left the building. Paul Saladino is not a carnivore. Paul Saladino pours hundreds and hundreds of grams of contraindicated, damaging carbohydrates down his stupid fucking neck every day of his life. That is not carnivore. So don't put Paul Saladino up as representative of the carnivore community. He fucking isn't.
Promoted by the paleo communities is...
Paul is also not representative of the paleo community either.
Scamming people.
Says Joel Fuhrman. Scamming people. The bloke who's just said your brain causes aging and oxidation to occur. A bloke who thinks that chemicals from plants are required without providing any evidence whatsoever that they are. A bloke who says it's ridiculous you can't get everything you need from meat, but doesn't name a single thing that you need that you can't get from meat. Wow.
Based on their ignorance.
No, we know who's ignorant here, Joel Fuhrman. We know who's ignorant. There's no question who is ignorant. Okay? It's really straightforward.
What if we're not, what if we don't have an excess amount of calories?
Calories are heat, Mark, still.
And what if we're not, eating other things that are going to cause harm to our body? So like, primarily eating meat, and you're not, causing an influx of insulin and glucose and all these different things. Do the rules change a little bit? Because a lot of the research with some of the stuff that you have cited is a lot of people that are on a...
He hasn't cited a single fucking thing, Mark. Nothing at all. He's mentioned things. He hasn't cited anything. And he's lied about what the findings are of those studies. He's lied outright through his teeth. He's looked you in the face and fucking lied to you, Mark.
Standard American diet.
No, it's not
and
true.
Eating red meat.
No, it's not true.
Oh, Joel Fuhrman wants to tell us about what's not true now. Good work.
That's more nonsense, and that's a more, how should you say,
So you don't even fucking know what you're going to say next, do you, Joel? You've got no fucking idea what's even going to come out of your mouth next, and you're desperately scrabbling around in that empty fucking skull cavity, trying to find something to grasp onto to try and save a little bit of face here. Because you've just been shown up by one of the dumbest motherfuckers on the internet. Incredible.
Just an argument that these people make to try to promote a meat-based diet based on a hypothesis?
Oh, says Joel Fuhrman, hypothesis. Right. Well, show me some evidence that phytonutrients are required by human beings to live a long and robust life in good health. No? Still?
But that hypothesis has been looked at.
By whom? And so what? Hypotheses are answered with empirical evidences collected using the scientific discipline, Joel. Do you have any of those studies? Still no? Okay.
Over and over again in the medical literature and shown to be wrong.
No. False.
Number one, the shortest lived occupation in North America is linebackers on football teams.
So? What the fuck has that got to do with the price of fish in China in 1965? Or fucking anything else?
The amount of meat they had to eat to get that big shortens the lifespan.
No. There is no evidence to support that claim. Those kind of blokes don't abuse steroids, do they not, Joel? They don't exercise more than is healthy, Joel, do they not? They don't have unhealthy lifestyles, do they not? Are you stoned? Pop yourself directly back to fuck, you fucking ignorant twat. My word, this is absolutely fucking ridiculous, isn't it, children?
One. Number two, when we look at people on those so-called keto diets, we see as plant carbohydrates go down in the diet, so does increased risk of death.
No, not risk. There are no evidences around risk. Risk is a cause and effect statement. There are no experiments. Pop yourself back to fuck. Healthy user bias. We're done. Finish. What's next?
Death from both all-cause mortality, both cardiovascular mortality and cancer mortality. So, I'm not saying
The differences are so close to zero as makes no odds. In fact, Joel Fuhrman, you fucking liar.
that sugar and honey and maple syrup and white rice and white potato are good foods. I agree that
Well, then you're a fucking idiot, because none of those things are food for human beings at all.
high glycemic carbohydrates shorten lifespan.
No. There is no evidence for that either. While I might agree that that's likely, there is no evidence that it is so, and you've just made an unequivocal statement, which is, again, another false one, Joel Fuhrman.
You don't buy a car by comparing it to a junkyard wreck. Just because glycemic carbohydrates are lifespan shortening, or maybe even worse than meat, doesn't exonerate meat or butter in the process.
That's non-logic. That's just fucking ideology. That's nonsense. If you want to say meat is in any way contraindicated, Joel Fuhrman, you provide some fucking evidence that that is so.
Still, if you still studies based on replacement calories, take the sugar out.
Calories are still fucking heat and nothing else, Joel Fuhrman. Humans do not consume heat and use heat to produce energy. Back to fuck, if you please. Thank you so much.
Out and put in meat, or take the sugar out and put in eggs or something. It might look not as bad as eating sugar, but take the sugar out and put in beans or greens, and you get much more lifespan than take.
No, you don't. That is another cause and effect statement that is unsupported by evidence whatsoever, you fucking liar. False.
The sugar out and putting meat.
Do you have some theories as to why?
I just want to say this, that
why don't you just jump straight over the top of the guy that's hosting you as well? Good manners, son.
It's okay to have a theory?
No, it isn't if it's wrong, Joel, and yours are wrong, all of them.
But then you have to say, if you want to know what's reality, and people get all these hypotheses, we have to have a comprehensive look at the medical literature.
No, we don't. We have to look at science, Joel. There isn't any. Back to fuck you should go, once again. Once again without passing go or collecting $200. False. The medical literature. That's the last place you should look for advice on fucking nutrition, son. All right? What's next?
The scientific literature and see what the long-term
The scientific literature is absent, Joel. There isn't any. I've covered that.
data shows.
There is no long-term data either, Joel. There is only epididdly-doodly, middly-moodly gemology, which is incapable of informing on cause and effect, risk, hazard, or any of those things. Okay? No.
And the long-term data disproves all those.
No, it fucking doesn't. It doesn't disprove or prove any theory of any kind. There is no evidence whatsoever extant anywhere in the literature, Joel Fuhrman, you fucking liar.
Theories that people have trying to promote what people want to eat, especially in the bodybuilding community and among trainers and things. And people are overly consumed with size, and they don't recognize that when you're going to overly consume with size and you're trying to maximize growth, you're going to also be shortening your lifespan in the process.
Some of the things that bodybuilders do in an attempt to build the body beautiful are likely to be problematic. I agree with that. But eating meat is not one of them, and associated fat. Neither of those is problematic. Neither is not consuming plants. Not problematic either. What's next?
We want to maximize fitness and strength and not be the biggest human being you could possibly be.
Well, if you're a bodybuilder, dickhead, then that's false, isn't it? It's nothing to do with your strength or your fitness. It's to do with building the hugest and most aesthetically so-called correct body according to the tenets of the judges of the Bodybuilding Association, you fucking idiot. Strength and fitness, you don't get any points in a bodybuilding competition for either of those things. You ridiculous buffoon.
Hey.
Isn't using like a linebacker of a football field? I mean, linebackers are massive as it is.
Yeah.
Saying that meat causes a linebacker's death, isn't that kind of too strong of a Like,
it's false. It's absolute fucking nonsense. It is an absolute fucking lie. It's propaganda. It's not supported by data. It's Joel Fuhrman's opinion, and it's fucking vacuous.
it's not the meat that killed the linebacker. There's many other things I can go in, especially with like the dangers of that sport in general, right?
Yeah, we don't know exactly what killed.
Oh. That's not what you said before, Joel Fuhrman, you fucking liar. You unequivocally said the meat caused the death of the linebackers. Fact. That's what you said. Rewind the fucking video and check for yourself if you want. That is what you said. That is what you claimed, and you've just been called out.
The linebacker, maybe they took steroids, maybe they had a stressful, I don't know all the factors that could have killed him, but we
hang on, that's not what you said before, you fucking liar.
know that striving to be big and the diet you have to eat to get that big shortens lifespan.
No, there's no evidence for that whatsoever. False. Still.
So what I'm saying right now is like look at me. I'm a small guy. I'm 5'9". I weigh 150 pounds. But at 65, I can do 70 push-ups and 20 chins, and I'm still very fit at my age. And I have a six-pack, you know, and I'm solid.
Oh God, what you are is absolutely divorced from objective reality, Joel Fuhrman. That's what you are. My God. Righto.
You know, I want to keep this way.
Yeah.
Now,
you want to stay the way you are? Well, good luck.
I could get to be 165 or 70 pounds if I changed my diet and eat more meat, but that wouldn't be favorable for my lifespan. The goal.
You don't know that, Joel, at all. Whatsoever. You have no evidence to back that claim with at all. The likelihood is, in fact, that eating a more meat-based diet for the remainder of your lifespan, however long that is, would be a good thing and possibly would allow you to have a slightly longer remaining lifespan than you will otherwise.
Goal isn't to get bigger and unnaturally big. I want to be fit and strong for my size, but not as big as I possibly can be. I would need to change my diet to make it accelerate aging more to get bigger. I don't want...
God, it's just incredible how dishonest, disingenuous, what a propagandist, what a theologian, what a criminal crackpot this absolute fucking liar is, isn't it, boys and girls? This man literally has a forked tongue. Just amazing.
I don't want to be able to bench press an extra 50 pounds. I want to be able to be fit with my own body weight. So to get big enough to be a professional athlete. Now you can.
What the fuck has that got to do with anything? That's not the topic of this discussion.
The professional basketball players, tennis players, skiers, and and martial artists and boxers love this type of diet because they're strong for their body weight and they can keep themselves light and they're really fit and they're great. But but to be a linebacker, as you agree, you have to be extra sized, really big.
I do.
And what I'm saying is that bigger athletes, we know right now that eating to get that big is not lifespan promoted.
We don't know any such thing, you fucking liar. Still. You've said that I don't know how many times in this video. It was a fucking lie every single time you did it. And it's still a lie again. So there we go. Just absolute criminal misanthropy. The exact sort of thing that absolutely should land Joel Fuhrman in prison. Incredible. There you go, boys and girls. Join me next time when someone else will be wrong on interwebs because it doesn't look like slowing down anytime soon. Right. See you then.